Now, just a couple of quick issues. The levy, now it's through the House. The Senate awaits, and Nick Xenephon is the key senator for at least a few more months. He said this morning that it's about insurance. He wants to see to it that the states put in place insurance for their assets, which wasn't in place in Queensland. But can he go to Julia Gillard, who's the Prime Minister rather than a state premier, and insist that this is what I want the states to do?
I'm not sure what he wants her to do. Maybe she could say, right, as been tossed around, you will get a minimum of disaster relief unless you insure yourself should there be future natural catastrophes. But it's a pretty tough ask to ask the federal government to make states take out insurance policies, and at the end of it all, Senator Xenephon will have to think about the prospect that he was the man from South Australia who stopped or slowed down recovery work for Queenslanders by blocking the levy. I don't think he will.
I think some states, most of the states do have some insurance. There is a particular agreement with Queensland that they get a 75%, 25% subsidy or payment from the Commonwealth in case of disaster. And I don't know why Queensland doesn't have insurance. Maybe it's because their outlook is more prone to extreme weather events, therefore the cost of insurance is going to be so much greater. Other states do have something in place, apparently.
Well, certainly one thing, and that is that Julia Gillard cannot make any insistence upon Queensland taking out insurance contingent on current flood relief. So that cannot happen. It can only be a future arrangement.
That's effectively what he's asking for. But maybe he can make it something for the future. And just quickly on the Labor Party is now having a look at its entrails and deciding what it ought to do about the way it manages its own affairs, when what you're really interested in, I guess, was the report into what went wrong during the election campaign. The secret report.
That's the one we all want to read in detail. But
it's only got one page. It says Kevin Rudd.
Yes, that's it.
In 72 points. But look, this report was quite a solid document, and they started whittling it down. It began as a pine tree and ended as a toothpick, calling for primaries for pre-selections. It's all the other stuff we want to see, and I think eventually, one way or another, we will. But look, the reports have just come out after every election, and this was a special election. But Julia Gillard's made quite clear that the things asked of her, she's not going to do.
Well, to me, I'm actually not so interested in those first two. Well, of course, I'm interested in it, but we know what they're going to say. You've written a book about it. Plenty of others have written about it. We pretty much know what went wrong and, what killed off Labor's chances of having an outright victory. I am interested in this third chapter. The problem is it's never going to happen. It's already factions moving against it. But what happened when John Faulkner and Bob Carr and Steve Bracks went around the country talking to people was that Labor members said, no one listens to us. It's a completely moribund experience being a member of the Labor Party. That's why we're leaving. That's their problem. That's what they've got to deal with. And I see nothing in the response so far that the unions are going to allow that to happen. Well, and the factions.
What they're recommending, of course, is that 80% of the vote be limited to party members, 20%, including 20% for the unions, and that another 20% be opened up to outsiders who are Labor supporters. Well, look, what that tells me is that still 80% of the vote you can organise factionally. Is the bottom line. And secondly, I mean, how do you establish whether somebody's a Labor supporter? Do I just walk into the office and say, I'm a Labor supporter?
Sure.
And she has said flat out that she will choose the ministry. She's not going to budge on that one.
What about national delegates to National Conference? I mean, for years we've been going on about how National Conference is boring, there's no real policy debates. Well, they make a recommendation that rank-and-file members, heaven forbid, be able to go and be delegates at National Conference. They don't say how many, but even that is going to be argued.
What I'd like to see in the report is who was the real Julia.
OK, more with our panel shortly. Malcolm Farr, Glenn Milne and Fran Kelly. But now here's Mike Bowes and Talking Pictures.